Let's face it, you're probably here because you want to squeeze the most out of your sleep, right? Especially when, a full 8 hours feels more like a luxury than a reality.
Uh-huh. We totally get it.
So today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly that, how to boost your sleep quality and feel sharper during the day. We've got some really interesting insights from a doctor who's focused on this stuff.
Yeah, and our mission basically is to cut through all the noise and give you some solid, actionable tips, things you can actually use to make the sleep you do get count for more.
Exactly. Not just more hours, but better hours.
Precisely. So where should we start? I think the first big piece is, maybe surprisingly, darkness.
Okay, darkness. We all kind of know it's important, but is it really like a game changer?
Oh, absolutely. Think about it from an evolutionary standpoint. For ages, the only light was the sun. True darkness was the signal for sleep.
Right.
And this source we looked at points out that ever since electric light came along, average sleep duration has dropped by about 2 hours a night,
Yeah,
apparently.
2 hours. That's huge.
It is. And it's a massive shift for our biology. The source even, hints at links between this chronic sleep reduction and serious issues down the line, like Alzheimer's and dementia.
Okay, that's serious. So why is light, especially at night, so bad for us biologically? What's it actually doing?
Well, it boils down to our body's incredible sensitivity to light. Even tiny amounts suppress melatonin.
Melatonin, the sleep hormone.
Exactly. Light basically tells your body, nope, not time to sleep yet.
Yeah.
And the source had this really striking analogy.
Yeah.
Shining even something as faint as a laser pointer on someone who's sleeping can increase their brain activity.
Seriously, a laser pointer.
Yeah. It just shows how even minimal light can pull your brain out of those really deep restorative stages. You need, like, total blackout conditions if possible.
That really puts it in perspective. Okay, so what about the light we're all staring at right before bed? Our phones, tablets, that blue light?
Yeah, yes. The blue light issue, it's a big one. That specific kind of light directly stimulates the occipital lobe, your visual processing center.
So it's basically like telling your brain, hey, look, it's daytime.
Pretty much.
Like this.
And the effect lingers. The source says that stimulation can last for up to 2 hours after you've put the screen away.
2 hours? Man, no wonder it's hard to wind down after scrolling. That's wild.
It makes falling into deep quality sleep much harder.
Okay, so what's the practical fix? I mean, telling people to avoid screens for 2 hours before bed, that's a tough sell for many.
It is. That's the ideal, according to the source, but
Yeah.
not always realistic. So the compromise is using those blue light filters, night mode on your phone or computer.
Yeah, the thing that makes the screen go all yellowy, sepia-toned, does that actually work?
It does help, yeah. It doesn't eliminate the issue like stopping screen time would, but it significantly cuts down on those specific blue and violet wavelengths that really mess with melatonin and keep you alert.
Okay.
So that sepia tone is basically proof it's working.
Mm.
It's a sustainable compromise for a lot of people.
Right, okay. So pitch black room, cut down the blue light before bed. Got it. What's the next piece of this sleep optimization puzzle?
Temperature. I usually just go for, comfortable.
Yeah, but comfortable when you're awake is often warmer than what's optimal for sleep. Interestingly, the source mentions studies, even with people who had severe insomnia, where using devices to cool the head actually improved their sleep because it lowered brain activity.
Head cooling devices. Okay, that sounds a bit intense for home use.
Yeah, a bit much. But the good news is you can get a similar benefit much more easily. The sweet spot for room temperature for sleep is apparently around 15 to 20 degrees Celsius.
15 to 20 C, that's what, 60 to 68 Fahrenheit?
Roughly, yeah. And the source specifically mentioned around 18 Celsius, so about 65 Fahrenheit, as being pretty ideal. It helps your body's core temperature drop naturally, which is part of falling asleep.
Wow, okay. That feels quite cool. I definitely keep my bedroom warmer. Most people probably do. But the suggestion is, try setting the thermostat lower, maybe below 20 C, and just use extra blankets if you feel cold.
Right.
That cooler air helps lower brain activity, makes it easier to fall asleep, and, crucially, stay asleep longer because your brain isn't working as hard.
Cooler room, calmer brain. Okay, that makes sense. Now, something else mentioned was meditation. People talk about it for stress, but how does it help with sleep specifically?
The really powerful way to quiet that mental chatter, the racing thoughts that keep you awake.
Yeah.
And it actively helps lower that brain activity we were just talking about.
Okay.
And the other thing is, it doesn't have to be long sessions. Even 5, 10, maybe 20 minutes can make a difference.
And I've dabbled with meditation apps, but I always worry I'm not doing it right. Does the specific type matter much? Like mindfulness versus something else?
The source really emphasized consistency over technique, whether it's gratitude, focusing on your breath, transcendental meditation, whatever. The key is making it a regular habit. That's what trains your brain to shift into that calmer state more easily.
Right, the habit itself. But the biggest hurdle for me, and probably lots of listeners, is time. If I'm already short on sleep, finding more time for meditation feels counterintuitive.
Yeah, I get that. But the source actually frames it differently. It suggests that the quality boost you get makes it worthwhile. So maybe slightly less sleep overall, but much more restorative sleep because you meditated. That's actually a net gain.
Okay. Trading a few minutes of potential sleep for higher quality sleep. That's an interesting way to think about it.
Exactly. You're making your sleep more efficient.
And what's happening in the brain when meditation helps? Is there science behind that?
Oh, yeah. It's about brain waves. When we're awake and alert, we're mostly in data waves, faster frequency, like 1530 hertz.
Okay.
To sleep well, your brain needs to slow down through alpha waves, then into the really slow delta and theta waves of deep sleep. Meditation basically helps you practice downshifting those brain waves.
So you're training your brain to hit the brakes more easily at bedtime.
That's a good way to put it. Consistent practice makes that transition smoother.
Okay, cool. So darkness, temperature, meditation, that covers prepping for sleep. But then the source shifts focus to waking up. How does the morning routine affect sleep later?
Massively.
Yeah.
This is all about tuning your circadian rhythm, your internal body clock.
Yeah.
How you wake up sets the tone for that entire 24-hour cycle.
Right. And a wonky circadian rhythm is a huge cause of sleep issues for people.
A major one. So getting the morning right is key for getting the night right.
All right, lay it on us. What are the key morning habits?
Okay, first thing, straight out of bed, hydration.
Water.
Yep, that thirsty feeling you often have. That's because you're dehydrated after hours without water. The advice is to drink at least half a liter pretty much immediately.
Half a liter. Wow. And crucially, before coffee, right? That's the tough part for caffeine lovers.
Yeah, that's the recommendation. The reasoning is caffeine hits harder on dehydrated adrenal glands.
Yeah.
It can spike stress and make you rely on sort of emergency energy,
Okay.
which long-term can mess with your rhythm and energy. So water first helps you recover properly from the overnight dehydration.
That makes sense. Avoid the jitters, help the body recover. Okay, water first. What's step 2 for the morning?
Light exposure. Just like darkness signals sleep, light signals wake-up time.
Natural light, preferably.
Yeah, if possible.
Yeah.
Sit by a window, step out on the balcony for a few minutes while you have that water or your later coffee.
Even on a cloudy, gloomy day, does that still count?
Absolutely. Even diffuse daylight sends a powerful signal to your brain. It's morning, time to be alert. This helps lock in your circadian rhythm and actually promotes better melatonin production later that night.
Interesting. So morning light helps evening sleep. Okay. Hydration, light. What's a third morning element?
Movement. Getting your body moving soon after waking.
Like exercise.
It doesn't have to be intense. Even gentle stretching helps. Though the source did mention that more intense stuff, like lifting weights, has an extra benefit. It produces neurotrophins,
Which are?
chemicals that help support brain health, new neurons. But really, any movement helps signal to your body, okay, sleep time is definitely over.
Right.
It adjusts all those internal physiological patterns. You know that feeling some people get, like they're still groggy at 10 a.m. even though they've been up for hours?
Yeah, totally. Like your body hasn't quite caught up.
Exactly.
Mhm.
The source suggests that can happen if your body hasn't gotten strong enough wake-up signals like movement early on. It's still kind of running on sleep mode settings.
Hydrate, light, move. Okay. It sounds like these aren't, massive life changes, but small, consistent things.
That's the beauty of it. None of this requires like superhuman willpower. It's about tweaking your environment and routines.
And the goal is making that, say, 6 hours you manage to get feel much more restorative, like getting the benefit of more sleep without actually sleeping longer.
Precisely. Transforming 6 hours into something that feels more like 7 or 8 hours of quality rest.
Well, we've certainly covered some really practical ground here. Great takeaways for, hopefully, helping you get the most bang for your sleep buck, so to speak.
Yeah, the potential for just feeling better, more energetic day to day by nailing these basics is pretty significant.
Definitely. So as you think about integrating some of these ideas, the darkness, the temperature, meditation, the morning routine, here's something to chew on. How might consistently prioritizing these seemingly small adjustments do more than just improve your sleep? What kind of ripple effect could that have on your overall well-being, your mood, your focus, your productivity across your entire day?